Hey, g'day legends, and thanks for tuning in. This week's video, we're back on the 6.4 Hemi International. I've got some new bits that are turned up for the engine, so let's see if we can get the big unit mounted, eh? So grab your frothy, your coffee, kick back, relax, and enjoy the vid. Rightio, so like I was saying, we've got some new bits that are turned up for this thing. First of all, we got the Hemi intake. I think it's a 6.1 or a 5.7, I'm not too sure. There's a few different variations of these things, but yeah, I've just sort of got my hands on what I can. Obviously, you got new valve covers. This thing, for those who don't know, this was a bare long block, 6.4 long block. I think it's out of a Jeep, so there was nothing on it. So yeah, I've managed to score the intake manifold, valve covers. I've got a standard set of exhaust manifolds too. Don't ask me what they're off, but yeah, I've got them bolted on there now, so they sort of just clear the chassis rails. And I've also managed to find myself a sump. I think that's a 300C car sump. I've done a bit of initial digging, and it looks like, so I'll show you the back of the engine. So I want to move it back a bit more. As you can see, we've got a fair bit of clearance. It would work where it's sitting. I'd still have plenty of room for accessories and the radiator, but yeah, it looks a bit goofy that far out, so I'm going to move it back a bit. That car sump being a front sump, it's going to foul on this cross member, but luckily that cross member unbolts, so I'm going to go ahead, unbolt it, and then yeah, stick the sump up with 2 bolts. I want to move the whole lot back, and then I'm going to start looking at the engine mounts. The oil filter locates here. It's missing the oil filter spud, but I've got an oil filter sit there. Looks like this factory mount's going to have to be trimmed a fair bit, but I've got a fair bit to work with. So what I'm thinking of doing is, yeah, cutting it about there, moving everything back, and I can put another, I can box it back in later on after. But like I say, we'll get this sump on, we'll pull that crossmember out, get the sump on, move it in position, and then we'll start mocking these engine mounts, eh? Rightio legends, so as usual I've had a bit of play off air there. I've managed to get this driver side mounted. Obviously I haven't fully welded it out, but what I've managed to actually use the factory 6-cylinder Hemi engine mount plate and engine mount and use this factory box. Obviously I've had to trim some of it away because that's actually where the oil filter is going to live. I'll show you that. So this here screws straight to there, sits about there, so now there's plenty of clearance for that. So like I said, what I'll end up doing is putting a bit of plate from... Righto legends, looks like the mic went out at this point. But yeah, basically I'm just saying that I get to use the factory 6-cylinder engine mounts. Had to cut out the factory mounting box there, but I'm going to box that back in as you'll see later on. I'm just showing you the same side, basically showing you the factory 6-cylinder engine mount where I have to drill the second hole. And that lines up with 2 of the mounting holes. And then, yeah, where the Hemi engine mount, the 6-cylinder engine mount used to mount in the bottom, I'm using it on that top side. All I have to do is drill another hole right there, and then that factory mount is going to bolt up. So I get to use, yeah, all the factory 6-cylinder engine mounting brackets and mounts to mount the V8, which is going to work out really good with very minimal yeah, effort and fabrication. So it's going to be a little quick win to yeah, get the big 6.4 mounted. So I go ahead off camera, get that done, and yeah, get the engine mounted. Then I sort of move my effort towards mounting the transmission, which you'll see in the next clip. Yeah, legends, so it's a new day, and as you can see, we've moved the truck from outside, from inside to outside. And not sure what I went over on the last clip there, but basically, yeah, we got the engine mounted. Obviously, everything's got to be finished welded, but the engine's sitting in the right position. I'm happy as with that. And I went and offered up the cross member that I took out before because it looked like it was going to interfere with the sump. and I must have raised the engine up enough, and now it clears by a fair bit actually, as you can see. So yeah, that's worked out a treat. I've just come back from town and I saw some steel for the transmission crossmember. So this is a bit of 75x50 by 5. So yeah, it's probably a bit overkill, but I'd rather go over than under. So yeah, what I'm gonna do, go under there, mark this thing up. I'm probably gonna bevel the edges where it's gonna mount. And it's pretty straightforward, just punch a hole in there for the transmission mount, which I'll show you. So I think there's two different types of transmission mounts you can get for these torqueflites. This one here only has a single stud. I might get the one with a stud and a bolt. I'll see how I go, but basically the way I've leveled this thing up, I've got enough clearance now for my yoke on my tail shaft. And basically the crossmember is gonna bolt to the underside of the chassis and pick that mount straight up flush. So that's why I just need a bit of RHS. So yeah, I'm gonna trim this thing up, drill this hole and drill the mountain holes, and hopefully that'll be the transmission crossmember sorted. So yeah, let's rip into it. Rightio, so we've had some success here, as you can see. Like, it's just very straightforward, just that bit of RHS. That's where that transmission mount bolts through. What I'm actually going to do is actually build some sides that surround this mount, because in Valiance they actually sit in the crossmember, so that sort of supports a bit more. But for now, this is good enough to get the transmission mocked out. I'll finish that off afterwards. But now I suppose I should show you too. That's the clearance I got on the transmission pan. I'm probably going to put a deeper pan on this, and it's still got enough room, and you can see the sump clearance on that crossmember too. So now that we've got that transmission crossmember sorted out, I'm going to go ahead and actually pull the front off this thing, pull the cab off it, pull the engine transmission out, because I want to send this chassis off to go and get blasted. It needs some work done to it, like weather radar support mounts, that needs a bit of work, a little bit of work down the rear. But yeah, I want to get this thing disassembled. I don't know if I'll be able to get this chassis sandblasted before the Chrissy break, but at least if I get it apart, if there's an opening, I can slot it in. So yeah, let's go ahead and rip this thing apart, eh? Alrighty there, legends. So yeah, we got it all done. So the cab's sitting in the shed, engine transmission's on the floor. So I've got an engine stand over there, so I'm going to separate the transmission back off that engine. Like I said, I got most of the bits for it, but I need a new set of lifters and a full gasket kit for it. So I'm going to strip this thing back down, sit it on the engine stand, get it to the point where it's all cleaned out, ready to put back together. I've got to order some bits. And the cab as well, like, it's been in primer for years. I've been debating what colour I want to paint it. It's actually a pretty cool shade of brown I've seen. I think DNA Paints makes it. And also there's a pretty cool color on the new 300 series Land Cruisers that I like. It's a metallic brown. Never thought I'd paint a car or a truck brown, but looking for something different. So let me know in the comments what you would paint this thing. Obviously I'm a bit of a fan of blues and greens and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm thinking something a little bit different with this one. I do like that metallic brown, and probably won't be too many other trucks painting that color in the near time future. Well, I don't think so anyway, but so anyway, I'm going to wrap it up here. Like I said, I've got a few parts to order, a bit of organising happening. That chassis's got to go and get blasted. I've got to actually finish the the welding on the engine mounts and stuff, but I'll do that before it goes and gets blasted and painted. So depending on the timeline when everything can get turned around, yeah, I may get a chance to play with this over the Chrissy break. But as always, I appreciate you watching. If you can do us a favour, like, comment, share and subscribe. I'll catch you in the next one.